was checking my Goodreads account and I realized that in the second quarter of this year, I read 9 books. Okay, let me start off with the book that I finished today afternoon, and it is The Gentleman from Peru. I read a Kindle version of this book. I want the physical version of this book because the cover is just so pretty. I read it on my Kindle, and that facilitated really fast and quick reading. The book was only 100 pages long, so I read it pretty quickly. The setting is such that a group of friends have gone on a vacation, and in the middle of their vacation, their boat kind of stops working. So these friends are like in between vacation spots, and now they are staying at a beachside town in Italy. So the gentleman from Peru is about this man called Raul who is staying at this hotel where the Americans are also staying because their boat stopped working and it needs to be repaired. And this man knows a lot about these Americans, even though it's the first time they are meeting each other. And it is kind of uncanny and eerie how perfectly he knows the details about their lives and secrets that these Americans don't know about themselves. The writing is really good. The characters are well fleshed out. So if you're looking for a book to finish in one sitting, definitely go for The Gentleman from Peru. It is going to leave you a little bit moved. The next book is a book that released recently, and I was really excited to get a copy of this one. I read this author's debut novel last year. It was Cleopatra and Frankenstein, and I loved it. It was so intense, it was so passionate, it was so power packed within those 300 or 400 pages that I finished it within like 48 hours. So naturally I was very excited to know that Coco Mellors has announced her second book, and this one released in May, and I instantly went ahead and got this. It's Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. But sad to say, I was a little disappointed with this book. It is still a 3.5/4 starter for me, but it's not as intense as Cleopatra and Frankenstein was. I think this is gonna make me a toxic person, but where Cleopatra and Frankenstein was a toxic novel, this one is a healing novel. So Blue Sisters is about 4 sisters: Avery, Bonnie, Lucky and Nikki, and Nikki is the third sister, but she has passed away, and this novel takes place a year after her death. These girls have had a rough childhood, not rough in the sense that their parents never provided for them. They were always provided for, but they were not taken care of. And Avery is like the big sister. She is always there for every sister, but no one at the end of the day understands her. Each sister is battling with addiction in different forms and different kinds, but the death of Nikki has led them reeling and trying to find a sense of self. And it's overall a sweet book, but I kind of felt like after reading Cleopatra and Frankenstein, this one is a little bit bland compared to that. The comparison is such that I recommend everyone in their 20s to read Cleopatra and Frankenstein, but this book can kind of get you into a slump. Nonetheless, it's very well written and it's a good book overall. Okay, let's talk about Happy Place now. The last time I was making this wrap-up video, I was actually reading The Happy Place, and that's why I did not include it in the March wrap-up, and I finished it in April. I know that Emily Henry is a cult favorite, but I still do not vibe with her novels. I read Happy Place before Funny Story was released because I really wanted to understand all the hype about Emily Henry. Mind you, I have read Beach Read before and I did not like it as much, and this is her second book, so maybe I'm biased. As you can see, it gets better in the second half, but the first half was kind of a struggle to get into. I agree that she is a good writer, but I think कि माहौल सेट था, कैरेक्टर सेट थे, मौका था, but बात बनी नहीं, If you've seen this book, you already know that Happy Place is a story about this group of friends who went to college together, and they made a pact that each year they will be coming to this beach house to vacation every year. But this particular year, all the friends are struggling with something. There are two couples out of the friend group, and one of the couples, everybody knew would be getting married. Everybody knew that Harriet and Win would be getting married, but they have broken up, and the group doesn't know yet. Because they do not want to ruin their last vacation, they do not tell their friends that they have broken up, and they decide to keep it a secret. The other couple in the group, they are going to get married. Listen, I feel like some books need to be turned into movies to do the story a justice, and I think Happy Place is one of those books, because I feel if this becomes a movie, I'm sure it is becoming a movie, but if this becomes a movie, it would be a great hit. But as a book, it did not appeal to me so much, and the only reason that I've tapped it is because I really wanted to finish all my pink tabs. This cover does something to me. If you see the font of Happy Place, tell me it's not weird. It's kind of weird. The A's and the P's, like the round thing in the font, is kind of weird, and it's kind of strange. It does something to me. It makes me feel weird. But yeah, otherwise the cover is pretty. I will admit that. This book was a 3-starrer, and I'm still trying to give Emily Henry a chance because I know she is a good writer, but I don't think that the story is like, कुछ तो बात नहीं बनती है इसके बुक्स में मेरे लिए. The settings are great, but something is missing. Like, I don't understand what it is. I can't pinpoint what it is. I have one theory about this book, okay? Remember when you were in high school and you had a crush on a boy, and in like right before going to sleep, you would make up scenarios in your mind about meeting this guy in different situations, and the guy also falling in love with you, and to make the plot spicy, you would add random circumstances and scenes that would make no sense at all, but like both of you would be in trouble, and you would try to get out of those trouble together, and yeah, it would highlight your character somehow. This book kind of felt like that to me. There are scenes where Harriet and Win are together, like it's like they are at the cellar, they are inside a cellar, and they're trapped inside the cellar, and they are talking about their breakup because they've never had to talk about their breakup after the breakup. And Win also has claustrophobia, if I'm not wrong. I mean, that 2x2 washroom is not scaring you, but the cellar is. This book might be for you, but it's not for me. But I'm still willing to give Emily Henry a chance because she is not as bad as other TikTok recommendations. So the next book that I'm going to talk about is a Kindle book that I read, and it is The Cleaners. It's again a short story, and it's available on Prime, so if you want to go and check it out, you can go and read it for free if you have Amazon Prime. And yeah, this book is on a very interesting concept. Time has been made into an entity, in the sense that take an object and you have memories associated to it. If you want to clean up those memories, you can just like give this object to a cleaner, and they would clean that memory for you. And this is an interesting concept because imagine like you knew a person from before, but the person is no longer in your life, and the memories of that person becomes a burden on you. And like, while there are some sweet cherished memories, for some people those can also be toxic memories, and those memories could be bogging you down. So these cleaners are going to clean those memories up for you, so that you no longer have those feelings, those thoughts associated with that object. I read it like a month or two ago, so I don't remember the characters exactly. I do remember the gist. Overall, it was a good book. I really loved the concept. The writing was really good. So yeah, I rated it 3 stars, I think. On to this book. This is Armond by Won-Pyung Sohn, and this is just another one of those books I would recommend to everyone. This book is heartwarming, heart-wrenching, poignant, sweet, mesmerizing, everything. Like, this book is a bunch of emotions altogether, and I know how ironic it sounds because our main character Yoon-jae literally is an emotionless person. So Yoon-jae has this condition called alexithymia, wherein his amygdala is smaller than the normal person's, and because of this reason he doesn't feel emotions. And because of this he has led a very sheltered life up until the point where his grandmother and mother are shot right in front of him. To be honest with you, if somebody had asked me before what would you want your superpower to be, it would be to be able to switch off my emotions, because I'm a very emotional person. But with this book I felt like maybe it's fine if I'm emotional, because if you read this book and if you have read this book, I think you're going to agree with this. After his grandmother dies and after his mom is in coma, um, Yoonjae is trying to find normalcy in his life, which in itself becomes an emotion. While he doesn't feel emotion, yes, but I think it is equating to the fact that what we do after someone close to us is not there with us anymore is to find normalcy in the rhythm of life. And Yoonjae is trying to do a similar thing in this book too. What is really striking about this book is the chance friendship that develops between him and another delinquent. The ending is sweet and it is going to hurt you. I kid you not. It is just one of those books that you are going to remember with a smile on your face. And this was my first time reading Korean fiction and I really liked it. Also, like, look at the cover. It is so beautiful. I love the combination of pink, lavender, and this kind of mango yellow. I think it's called butter yellow these days, but yeah. Another Kindle book that I read, and this was a self-help book, was Dopamine Detox. So Dopamine Detox is one of those books that should have stayed as Instagram posts, but I do not regret reading it. Also, it is very short and it speaks of nothing that you don't already know. I give it a very short, like, two-liner review on Goodreads, and it reads that it's a very short book about controlling modern day addictions of the digital world. Yeah, so Dopamine Detox is a very short book. It reads like a Medium article and it is about controlling your day-to-day addiction to the digital world. And if you are trying to combat that, you can go ahead, read this book. I think this just helped me with my Goodreads reading goal, but otherwise also it's fine. Okay, now the next book that I'm going to talk about, I first want to talk about its impact. My friend who is not a reader, I convinced her to read this book. It is that good. Again, it's a TikTok recommendation. You have seen it around Bookstagram over years, and I'm talking about The Silent Patient. I lended my copy to my non-reader friend who wanted to read it, so I do not have a copy with me right now. So, The Silent Patient is about Alicia Berenson. Okay, she has killed her husband and she refuses to speak up after killing her husband. So even when the cops have come to arrest her, she doesn't speak a word. It has been years she has not spoken a word, and because she has not spoken, psychologists all over the country claim that maybe something is wrong with her psychologically, because she was an up and coming artist in the New York scene, and obviously, if she has stopped speaking, maybe she's in shock or trauma, and the therapist want to really explore what has happened. We are reading this from the point of view of Theo, who is a psychotherapist, and he wants to join the asylum in which Alicia Berenson has been admitted to. Basically, his goal is to make Alicia talk. No one has been able to do that so far. When you come to the end of the book, you realize why that is. I feel like this book fooled me, okay, because मैंने कैसे ये नहीं देखा होते हुए. There are loopholes, but honestly, how the hell did I not see this coming? Like, it was so obvious, the mystery, the truth, the answers, everything was so obvious. And yet we were so blinded while reading it, and I was glad to know that this has been the experience with a lot of my friends. But yeah, I don't think I've read a mystery thriller so good in very long time. So obviously I was very 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 happy to have read this, and I am looking forward to reading other Alex Michaelides book. I'm not sure how to pronounce his surname, okay? But yeah, the writing, the characters, the setting, everything is really good, and it's written in a way that everyone can read it. So no matter what your age is, okay, maybe like you need to be 15 and up to read it, but even if you have not read books before and want to read books, I think mystery and thriller are books that really get you into reading, and The Silent Patient is the one you should go for. Like literally, don't even think about Yelu Nalu, just go and read it. It's going to suck you in, and it is really really good. I love how short the chapters were, because I have realized I've become the person who loves short chapters because it gives me a sense of accomplishment when I finish reading a chapter. So yeah, the chapters are really short in this book, like 1 to 2 pages long, but the mystery is so gripping that you're going to keep reading. Okay, no matter how much I talk about this author, she is always going to be an understated favorite of mine, and I'm talking about Jhumpa Lahiri. I read The Unaccustomed Earth. You already know what the theme is with Jhumpa Lahiri. It's always about immigrants navigating their life in the US or UK, and this book is no different. We explore the lives of different people, from kids to moms to dads to second generation kids living in the US, and how their lives are impacted whether or not they are directionless, or if they are navigating, how they are doing it. And it's always going to be a breath of fresh air reading Jhumpa Lahiri, no matter how similar her stories end up sounding at the end of the day. I think with some authors, the writing draws you in so well that even if they write bland stories, you're going to love it. And I think that is also the case with Coco Mellors, though I was disappointed with the second book. Not so much disappointed, but yeah, I had higher expectations. I would still go for her third book. I think it's the same with Jhumpa Lahiri, and yeah, I love this book. I gave it a 4 stars. The first half is a compilation of short stories, and the second half is a short novella. Okay, so the next book that I have read in this quarter is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Mind you, this is my first time reading the Harry Potter series. I read the first book years ago when I was in 10th standard, and I don't really know the reason why I did not continue reading it. Maybe it's just because I'm into slice of life fiction more than fantasy and supernatural. But yeah, this book was just as great as the first one. If you throw a Harry Potter meme at me, I'll probably understand it, even though I'm like a newbie Potterhead. And this book is thrifted. If you've seen this book on my channel before, it's because I spoke about it in my last video. And yeah, I ended up finishing it 2 books after I made that video. And yeah, if you don't know already, this is famous for its ownership marks, and this book belongs to a guy named James. So yeah, hi James. I did end up reading it, and I did end up finishing it, and I did end up loving it too. I gave this 4 stars, but frankly I think it would have been a 3.5, leaning towards 4 stars. To be very frank, I don't think I will be reading the next book very soon, maybe in November when the weather just calls for a fantasy novel. But yeah, I've loaded all the Harry Potter books on my Kindle for whenever I'm in a reading slump and I want to finish it. Okay, that's it for my video today. If you stayed so far, thank you so much. And the links to all the books that I've read in the second quarter will be down in the description box. Those are affiliate links, so if you do decide to purchase those books, thank you so much. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for staying, and yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.